Hi, welcome to Local Flavor. My name is Oystein Solberg and we're here at the Institute for Culinary Arts. So today we got a good old treat for you. We're going to show you guys something you guys can, with a little bit of work, do at home and then create your own little ecosystem, which is pretty sweet. We are going to hear from a fairly new member here at the college. He's been here a little bit over a year. His name is Mike Kaminsky. And he's been building an aquaponics program for us. So it basically means that it's a kind of aquarium with a little grow bed on it. It's very, very sweet. We're going to be cooking with some fish from there later today. So I'm just going to break to Mike, and then we'll be right back. And then I'm going to show you guys how to break down his little puppies.
Thanks, Øystein. Well, we're here in our solar lab, which is adjacent to our greenhouses. And today I'd like to show you our aquaponics systems. And what we have here is basically a 150-gallon fish tank. And the way this operates is that we have tilapia in here currently, and we raise our tilapia in warm water, approximately 80 degrees. And the water is then pumped up this PVC pipe by a pump up into the grow bed, where the grow bed will fill with that warm water, and we'll actually have we have a colony of nitrifying bacteria, beneficial bacteria, that is really the key ingredient to aquaponics. What the bacteria does is they will convert the toxic ammonia that the fish produce and convert it to nitrite, which is then converted to nitrate. And nitrate is the preferred form of nitrogen that the plants like to use as plant fertilizers. So we have organic source of fertilizer for our plants that's produced naturally by the fish. Now, the substrate that we use, this media, is called expanded clay. And it's very lightweight, it's very porous, and it's an excellent surface area for bacteria to colonize. And really, the more bacteria that you have present in your grow bed, the better it is for your system. Again, their job is to convert the toxic ammonia that the fish produce to a less toxic form. Then what happens is that less toxic form, which is nitrate, is taken up by the plants. So the plants have a constant source of fertilizer 24/7 that's replenishing their nutrient needs. Okay. Then what happens is the water then will drain through the plumbing back into the fish tank, where that nitrate has been removed. So it purifies the water for the fish. It's a continuing cycle. Ammonia is produced, it's converted, it's depleted by the plants, and then returned to the fish tank. So it's one organic cycle. That's really what makes aquaponics work.
Hi, then we're back here again. Thank you, Mike, for some wonderful insight into your world of fish. So in front of me here, we got a tilapia. So I'm going to show you guys how to fabricate these because they're a little bit tricky. They got a kind of little odd bone structure, but I'm going to break one down. I'm going to show you guys a couple of tricks that makes life a little bit easier. So the tilapia got very, very thick scales. Like they're very tough, and if you are to serve it skin on, but it's very, very delicious. You want to remove those. This one I've already done it on. I did it using a little tool like this. Kind of looks like a kind of awkward hairbrush. You should never use it for that, of course. But basically, you start from the tail piece and just use this one to kind of scrape all the scales off. This one is already clean, so it's pretty easy. But be sure you clear a good area when you start doing it, because there's going to be flying scales everywhere, and it's going to be a big old mess. If you can, try and do it outside, because then all the birds will come and eat the scales, and it's all gone, which saves a lot of time for you. But this one I already scaled, so it's very easy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a flexible boning knife like this. I'm going to start going down onto the spine. So I'm just going to go just on the side, on that back fin right there, starting just on the back of the forehead of the tilapia. So move this one so you guys actually get to see it a little bit. And I'm just going to follow it all the way down. And just stay as close to that back fin as you possibly can. And then once you start getting about halfway down into the fillet, you're going to get to a bone. You don't have to try and get through that bone right now. Once you get a little bit over halfway, that bone ends. So what I usually do then, I just go straight through and get through the belly cavity. And then we're just going to cut back towards the tail fin. Right there. So then you're just going to lift that up. And just going to get onto those bones that I just kind of stumbled into earlier. And then I'm just going to cut straight through them, all the way up into the head. And then going onto the back side of that fin right there. And just follow the curve of the gill. We can just cut the fillet out of there. Like so. Right? And that's the whole fillet right there. So basically, you'll do the same on both sides. Like you just lay it on this side and just follow the back there as well, and you take it off just the same. So it's pretty straightforward. On tilapia compared to trout and salmon, the bones that we kind of cut through a little bit earlier, they're very thick and they're rooted very deep into the fillet. So with trout and salmon, like you would just use tweezers and pull those bones out. On tilapia, you can't really do that because you're just going to mess up your fillet, and that's not good. So the belly piece, it's not very much meat there, so I find it just easier, just go on the upper side of those bones and just cut it straight out. Like so. And then, because the bones ends right there, so a little bit over halfway. And then we'll just cut that piece right out of there, because that's all bones and this kind of gnarly stuff. So we just set that aside. And then we'll just trim up the fillet just a little bit. It's just a little bit of fat that kind of sits over kind of the back of the fillet, and a little bit on towards the belly too. Right there. So this is a boneless fillet at this point, but we still got skin on. And for the preparation we're going to do today, like we're going to do a blackened tilapia, you don't want to have any skin on there. Skin is only good if it's crispy and crunchy and delicious. But since we're going to cover the whole fish in blackening seasoning, that'll kind of create like a little crust, so it'll build up steam in between the crust and the flesh. So if I were to crust the skin side, the skin would just steam. It would never have a chance to get crispy because it wouldn't get that direct heat on there. So today we're just going to take it off. So towards the tail piece, you get like a little spot there. That's just kind of little blood spot. So you're just going to get down onto the skin. So you just kind of lay your knife flat, and it's going to follow the skin all the way down. Like so. And then just follow the whole fillet down. And then you just get off the skin like that. Right, so that just goes away. And then you got a skinless, boneless fillet right there. So we're going to go for a break a little bit. I'm going to clean up my mess here. We'll be right back in a second. I'm going to show you guys how you can cook this up and make a very, very easy meal. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
In response to our growing demand for corporate travel counselors, Travel and Transport partnered with Metropolitan Community College to create a travel academy designed to equip and prepare students for careers in the travel industry. Metropolitan Community College adapted to meet our workforce challenge.
MCC increases student income and business productivity, adding nearly $50 million to the state economy each year. The adaptive option is Metropolitan Community College.
Hi, then we're back here again at the Institute for Culinary Arts, where we're going to try and make a little dish out of this shenanigans we've been working with all day. Right here, I got a brood of a vegetable. This is a fennel. It's used mainly kind of the bulb on it, but the tops here, like they're very tasty as well. Got a kind of a small little licorice flavor. So we're going to use this one to make like a little raw shaved salad. It'll work very well with the tilapia and the blackening seasoning. It's super fresh and light, and for once, Mary's going to be so proud of me. I'm not going to use anything that's bad for you. Hooray! I'm going to show you guys how to make that. we're also going to use some Swiss chard that we got out of the garden. That's just beautiful. Normally you just use, or most people just use kind of the leaves of the Swiss chard. Today we're actually just going to use the stems. So you're going to kind of mix it up a little bit. That's just going to go in with the fennel, and we just make this wonderful, nice, light little salad. But most of you guys are kind of wondering, like, how do you attack a beast like this? Well, it's a little funky, but it's pretty easy, so I'm going to show you. The tops, you can just cut them straight off. You can still use them, like they're still very flavorful, but they're a little bit woody, so you wouldn't necessarily use them in a salad like this. But you can cook them, and they'll be very tasty. Save all of these tops. Use them kind of like you would dill. Add them to a potato salad. Add them to a regular mixed salad. Like, it's super, super tasty and good. But I'm just going to set them aside for now, and then I'm going to use some of those fronds later. And then we take this bulb. I'm going to cut off that little top too. And then you're just going to cut it straight into quarters. And once you kind of expose it, you see that it got a very significant core right there. This is like crazy wood. It's super, super tough. It takes a very long time to break down. So for this purpose, we're not going to cook it at all. Just going to take off the outer layers because they're a little bit thicker, a little bit tougher. They're not too good to use in raw salads, but cook them and they'll be delicious. The core, I'm just going to lay it on its side like this. I'm just going to cut the core right out of there, like so. And then you just get layers upon layers upon layers of delicious, delicious fennel. So then for the salad, like, you want it to be very, very thin, just so it's nice and delicate. So I'm just going to use a peeler. And then just kind of shave it into little thin slices like this. Because that way they're thin, they're going to be delicate, it's going to be so fresh and so delicious. And like, this is the kind of salad where you can really add just about anything to it. Like, you can add little strips of rhubarb in there, or you can add some fresh fruit and berries, some apple in there, it would be delicious. Like, you can mix it up and make it your own. And it'll be delicious. You can add some kohlrabi in there, and it'll be super, super nice. That's, I already got some already shaved off, so you guys don't have to watch me shave a whole bunch of fennel. And then for the Swiss chard stems, I'm just going to cut them into like little 2-inch pieces or so. And then just cut them into like little kind of matchstick pieces like that, just like so. And it's going to be very, very tender. You want to use smaller chard. They'll just have more tender of a stalk. Like, the bigger they get, the more sun they get. They're going to start getting a little bit of bitterness. They'll get kind of woody, and they'll be kind of awkward. But when they're small like this, they're super tender and super delicious. So I'm just going to set those aside. And then in this little bowl right here, I got blackening seasoning. So you guys are going to hear from Mary pretty soon, and she's going to be so proud of me again. Like, I didn't add any salt to it. Believe that. So in here right now, I got dried oregano, dried thyme, garlic powder, and onion powder, cayenne, and paprika. Yeah, that should about cover it. So normally we add a little bit of salt too, but I'm not going to add any. I'm going to use a little bit of sea salt to finish instead. So basically, this is just going to all get mixed up into this happy little hodgepodge of deliciousness. So it looks kind of funky on its own, but as soon as this gets into the pan, it's going to start blackening. And we're going to cook it in a dry pan, which sounds super strange too. But because a lot of the cayenne and the paprika, if you cook it with oil, it's going to get extremely, extremely hot. It's going to be like melt your face hot. That's going to be kind of awkward. Unless you really don't like the people you're feeding, which you shouldn't really do anyways. So you're going to have a hot, dry cast iron, and you're just going to cook it dry like that for about 2 minutes on each side. And then, as I said earlier, that crust is going to create, it's just going to crust it up, I guess. And then it's basically going to steam the fish in there. So it's a very, very delicate way of cooking a fish, and it's super, super delicious. But we're going to go to a little break and hear from Mary while I kind of get myself organized a little bit, and then we'll be back in a little second, and then we'll start cooking our fish and putting this whole shindig together.
For those viewers who are trying to lower sodium in their diet, it is important to realize that kosher salt is still salt and it provides sodium. 1 teaspoon of any type of salt is about 2,300 milligrams. For those of you who are trying to reduce sodium, my recommendations for this recipe would be to either decrease the amount of kosher salt added or eliminate it completely. Chef Øystein has put together a beautiful blend of herbs, including paprika, oregano, thyme, onion and garlic powders, not to mention blackened cayenne pepper, which will provide plenty of flavoring. You can always add more to the fish if you would like. Another alternative would be to take just a few grains of coarse salt and add it right before eating your tilapia.
Hi, then we're back here again at the Institute for Culinary Arts. So we got a couple of more things we got to do before we start eating all of this food. First of all, we're going to get our tilapia in the pan. So we got our blackening seasoning, we got our fillets. These fillets I kind of cut the belly piece off because it's usually a little bit thinner than the rest of the fillet. We'll just make it cook a little bit more evenly. You'll get just a more even result, which is pretty nice sometimes. So I'm just going to dredge these fillets in the blackening seasoning. Just get a good amount on all sides. Just covering the whole fillet like that. Kind of shake off the excess. Kind of slap the fillet a little bit. And just kind of roll it around. And you can adjust that, the blackening seasoning quite a bit too. Like, it's really up to you what you want to put in there. You just need paprika in there to kind of get that blackening effect. But seasoning, like, you can tweak it quite a bit. Like, this is a very straightforward, pretty plain seasoning, but I like it. It's pretty delicious, so I use it. I got my cast iron. It's dry, it's nice and hot, and it's ready for the fish to start sizzling. It's actually not even going to sizzle because it's dry. So I'm just going to put them in. It's a little bit hard to kind of gauge how hot the pan is since it's dry. But you want it to just kind of barely be smoking a little bit, and then it's having a jolly good time in there. So I'm just going to leave those in there. They'll take about a good 2 minutes or so on each side, just until it's done, basically. So while that's kind of going in that pan, we're going to start finishing off the fennel salad. So we got all our shaved fennel. Then I got a little bit of orange zest and a little bit of orange juice. And I got these Swiss chard stems. So I'm just going to add the stems and the fennel together in there. And add a little bit of sea salt. This is an English sea salt, Maldon. It's very tasty. It's very good to use for kind of finishing projects because it doesn't have that bitterness that a lot of other salts have. And it's very, very tasty. Like, it's a good one. So I'm going to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice in there. Just a little bit to kind of brighten it up a little bit. And then I'm just kind of, with the salt and the lemon juice, kind of knead this together a little bit. This will kind of start breaking it down and kind of soften it up a little bit. So this is kind of the base of the vinaigrette pretty much. Right there. And the salt is going to start drawing out a lot of the moisture from the fennel and the stems too. So they'll soften up and it'll kind of bring out a little bit more of that licorice flavor. Like, you want to bruise it a little bit. Like so. So it's starting to kind of sweat its own little fennel-y juiciness. You're going to add like just a little pinch of orange zest in there. You won't need a whole heap load, just a little dash in a bit. I'm going to give it a little bit of orange juice. Just pour it straight in. And then we got those fennel fronds that we took off the top of those stalks. Just kind of, you don't want to use kind of the main stems because they're pretty thick and they're not super super tasty to eat, or they're tasty, they're just kind of awkward. But we just want to use kind of the finer tops like that. The blackening seasoning is starting to smell like blackening seasoning. Right there. Then we're just going to chop this up real quick. Doesn't have to be super fine or even or anything, just kind of roughly chopped up is good. Like so. Just pour that in. And then we just toss all of this together. Oh, it's going to be delicious. All right, so the orange juice is starting to mix with the lemon juice and the juice that is kind of starting to draw out of the fennel. And it's just going to turn into this licorice hodgepodge of deliciousness, which is my favorite kind of hodgepodge. Right there. And then you're going to start flipping our fishes. So since they're coated so evenly in the blackening seasoning, they're not going to stick to the pan at all. And we can just very easily turn them over. Right there, so you see that it's just kind of starting to dry up. It's starting to get that nice little crust. It's going to be delicious. Okay, so the salad is just having its jolly good time in here. It's starting to really soften up. It's going to get real nice and tasty. This is a good spot as well for a little improvisation. Like you can use like some cracked fennel seeds in there, and like you can really kind of go to town with it. So it's you can add like some dried berries and stuff, like just make stuff up. It's awesome. On the back here, I got some roasted zucchinis. I got some parsnips and some kind of cute little baby carrots. They're so cute. I almost don't want to eat them. So these one I just tossed in a little bit of vegetable oil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Pop them in a hot oven. Just let them roast. Let them do its thing. Depending on the size, they're going to take a little bit different times. So I roasted them separately first and then kind of merged them together because a carrot that size and a parsnip that size are not going to cook the same time. So it's something to be cautious about when kind of roasting vegetables and stuff like that. But I'm just going to bring a plate over here, and I'm going to start putting this on a plate and start eating because I'm getting a little hungry. I haven't had food yet. So we're just going to put the salad just straight in the middle like that. Right there. We'll take some of these roasted vegetables. Got like little baby zucchinis that are just awesome looking. Parsnip are just nice and roasty. Oh, it's going to be good. Whenever there's fish on the table, I always get pretty excited. Over on the side here, I got some butter that I melted down and browned up a little bit. So instead of adding the butter in here, I'm just going to top it off with a little bit of butter right before serving. It's butter. It's delicious. Sorry, Mary. I just had to. I just caved in at the last minute. So I'm just going to transfer these fillets just right on top. Just kind of be careful when getting them out of the pan. Right there. Nice and steaming fishes. And then we got our nice and hot butter over here. And just a little bit to finish it off. Like so. It's a very, very easy plate putting together. It's very, very tasty. You could do it with different types of fish too. Works best with white fish, but using like a red snapper or something like that would be delicious as well. You can even use like a small catfish. You can mix it up, make it your own, run with it. It'll be awesome. But that's about what we had for today. Be sure to check out our website to kind of read up on the recipes and whatever else we might be making next. So stay tuned, see you around, have a wonderful day.
From a nutrition standpoint, fennel is considered a vegetable. Fennel has only 27 calories per cup and is an awesome source of vitamin C and the mineral potassium. This salad gets an A+ rating from the registered dietitian because of its fat-free vinaigrette dressing and the beautiful blend of vegetable and fruit. Enjoy this salad.
For me, Metropolitan Community College was a very reliable choice. All the credits I earned at MCC easily transferred over to UNO, where I completed my bachelor's degree in education. Now, I am an elementary school teacher right here in Omaha. Ahora soy instructora en un programa de 2 idiomas.
Metropolitan Community College has delivered quality education to the metro area for 40 years. The reliable option is Metropolitan Community College.